And we are live. Welcome to the Adventures of Travelin. Matt. This week's guest is my man DJ Jam from the Dog Pound. Gangstas in the house.
What up? What up? What up?
How you doing, my man?
Good,
so
man.
You in San Diego right now, right?
Arizona.
You moved to Arizona.
Yeah. I've been out here.
Time to get out of Cali, huh?
Since 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How's Arizona treating you?
Good, man. Except for when the summer comes.
Yeah, well, it's summertime here, and it's like 104 degrees today or something like that. It's getting hot out here.
Yeah.
Hot. By the time you get out here, it's going to be hot, and you are coming out here soon, right?
Yeah, a couple weeks.
Around the Songkran time. So, yeah, we're trying to...
April 6th or 7th, I believe. It's that Sunday or Monday, 6th or the 7th.
Right, well, it's Songkran. So make sure you get yourself a waterproof bag or a Ziploc
Oh, that's
bag.
when they spray water, right?
Oh yeah. You're going to be a target. I think it starts the 13th, and it's going to be madness for at least 3 days in Bangkok.
Wow.
Yeah, it's for those that don't know, Songkran is a New Year's festival, and they thousands of years ago they blessed the monk by pouring some water into his hands. And now it's an all-out wet T-shirt contest, super soakers, water balloons. Wow. I mean, buckets of ice water. It can get crazy over here. I was just watching a clip from the TV show White Lotus, and the girls were trying to run away and find out if there was a back door to get away from it. There's no back door. Out unless you leave Thailand, there's no getting away from it.
Oh, wow.
And if you're a foreigner, you got a target on your back. They will bless you vigorously. So be prepared. Yeah, get some sneakers you don't care about and some clothes you don't care about, because not only is there water, but they use baby powder, and they will bless you with the baby powder.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, it gets messy. It's going to be messy. And everybody's drunk for 3 days.
What?
Everybody's drunk for 3 days. Oh, yeah. It'll get messy.
Is it during the day or at night, too?
The whole...
Really?
24 hours a day for 3 days.
Oh, no.
They usually calm down around 10 p.m. or so. But, yeah, it's certain areas. They have certain areas where they do the parties, like RCA, Silom, and Khaosan Road are the three major roads where they do this. And yeah.
So if you don't want to get hit, you just avoid those roads then.
Well, the whole country does it. It's the whole country. So there's no way to truly avoid it unless you don't leave your hotel room.
Wow, dude.
It gets crazy. Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how to.
Well, you and me will hang out. We'll walk around in one of the major areas one party night, because, like I said, it's a big wet T-shirt contest, and there's a lot of girls out there.
Right.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's
right.
Truly it's comparable to like Carnival,
right,
or Mardi Gras. It's one of the biggest parties in the world.
Wow. Okay.
And you're coming at the perfect time for it. and right after that, we got 420. So we're going to have a good time.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and Easter falls on 420 as well. So it's going to be an interesting time.
Oh, man.
Yep. But it's going to be hot out here. Yep. It's summertime.
So I was thinking of leaving on the 21st, which is a Monday.
Yep.
To come back.
I'm looking into trying to get you a 420 gig, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, dude. I didn't even think about 420. I forgot all about that. I got to get a club gig at 420. I'm always DJing somewhere on 420. Man. So I might have to stay out there a couple more. I might have to stay out there till the 22nd to give me a day to cool off. I mean, you know what I mean? Dude, I'm not going to be partying on 420 and then leave 421.
Yep, it's legal over here, so it's gonna be. Oh, by the way, happy St. Patrick's Day. Kiss me, I'm Irish.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah, we're gonna go out and party with some Jamesons or something tonight.
There's my green behind me.
Yeah, Yeah, you got the big screen going on. But yeah, I mean, how long have you been DJing?
Since
1983. Wow.
there you go. That's when I first picked up my first turntable right there. And see
That's
how it says a dash, meaning till
infinity.
to
Of course.
infinity.
Until we drop dead in front of a pair of CDJs or whatever the hell it's going to be in the next 20 years.
Because once a DJ, always a DJ.
I just had the same discussion with Shortcut on my last podcast, and yeah, he's been doing it since the 80s as well.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we've come such a long way. I didn't start really learning the art until like 94, 95.
Right.
And then really getting into it until much later. But yeah, I've been obsessed with it since about then. How did you get involved with the Dog Pound?
Gosh, long story, but I'll try to condense it a little bit. So, in San Diego where I'm from, I was DJing like all the big parties, whether it be a club, at the San Diego State University, which was the #1 party school in the country, right? And I was the DJing those big parties at the time when it was the #1 party college in the country.
Wow.
So I was DJing the main events at San Diego State University, and a lot of people that went to San Diego State were from Los Angeles, just up the way. A lot of people from Los Angeles come down and go to San Diego State. So at one of my parties, I actually met one of the students there, came up to me after my set, and he was like, "Man, I really like how you DJ." He's like, "I'm from LA," introduced himself to me. He said, "I got a homie in LA that can rap. That's dope. I need to bring him. I want to bring him down here sometime because I've been coming down, and basically he's been coming to the parties to check me out as a DJ. So he's like, I'm gonna bring my boy down here to one of these parties so you can meet him. His name is Corrupt." And this was before the Dog Pound. People knew about the Dog Pound and all that.
That's probably about the time he left Philly to go out there.
Yeah, that's just what I was about to say. He was out from Philly because he was recording with the SOS band.
Oh, okay.
He had There's a couple. SOS band has a couple songs on their album featuring Corrupt. I don't know how that happened, but
wow, I gotta look that up. Look that up.
So
I used to work with Corrupt Entre Records out of Philly was Corrupt's label before Suge Knight called him back to Cali and said, "You need to come back out here."
Yeah.
But yeah, it was I always knew that Corrupt was from Philly. He has that style. And it's strange to me because I've had debates with people about how the whole West Coast, a lot of the West Coast started with Ice-T and Corrupt's style out there, but Ice-T got his style from Schoolie D in Philadelphia, and he's actually from Jersey.
Yeah.
And Corrupt is from Philly, and he started the whole Dog Pound thing. So like gangster rap in the West Coast really has its roots in Philly. Most people don't know this. Most people don't know this at all.
Yeah,
but So Corrupt got you linked up with Daz, and he didn't start that till the 90s, really, right?
Yeah, he brought him down to one of the biggest events of the year that I DJ'd at San Diego State. After telling me he was going to bring him for about 2 years, right? I just thought he was making somebody up until this one huge party I did at San Diego State, and I was on a big stage and everything, and was packed on the football field, and he came up to the side of the stage and was waving his hand, and I noticed him, and he called me over during when I was DJing, right? so I put a song, and I ran down and was like, "What's up, man?" He's like, "Remember that dude I told you about? I was going to bring him down here." I was like, "Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah, I remember that." He goes, "This is him right here," right? And I looked at him and I was like, "Are you Corrupt?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm him." And I'm like, "Man, he's been talking about you for 2 years, talking about he's gonna bring you down here." So I thought he was just making you up. So back then, dude, like people at the parties, like people wanted to dance. They didn't really like people, you know how people used to come up and grab the mic and try to rap. You know what I mean? While the party's going on,
started.
whatever. But sometimes people like the rappers weren't that dope, and so the people would be like, you know what I mean, and like, boo, you know, get out of here, type of thing. So you really had to be dope on the mic if you were gonna get up in front of a big crowd like that, right? So because he had been talking about him so much, I said, I just pulled him up. I was like, come on, man. I pulled him up on the stage. I was like, you better be dope. You know what I mean? Or else they gonna boo you. I gave him the microphone, came up on stage, and I remember I had In Vogue 12-inch of Hold On. And I put that on. And I started bringing it back. Boom, 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 da-doom, doom. Dude, Corrupt grabbed that mic and must have freestyled for like 10 minutes straight. And the whole crowd on the football fields' mouths were just open, like, you know what I mean? And
you learned that shit in Philly.
And it's a trip because people trip off of this. Back then, when I used to DJ those big parties like that, I used to bring my cassette recorder to record my sets. So I had it recording when Corrupt came up there. So I actually have it on cassette.
Wow, nice.
And so that's going to be remastered and all that for real to be put out someday. You know what I mean? But I do have that on cassette when we first met, because that's history right there. But so after that, a little while after that, like the next semester, I actually transferred colleges to LA, to Cal State Dominguez Hills, right? And when I did that, I had an apartment on campus, right? And it's usually supposed to be like 4 students to an apartment, but there's 2 rooms and there's 2 beds in each room. So you have to share a room, you know what I mean? But for some reason, I have my own apartment to myself, right? And so I have my whole, like, a recording studio. I have my speakers, big speakers that I did parties with in there. And I have my drum machine, a Kai MPC, all that, my records. So Corrupt used to have somebody drop them off on at my campus so he can come in and write, you know what I mean? Because I had all the records and instrumentals and I had beats. So he used to just come over and write, you know what I mean? And I put different records because I was in record pools. So I got a lot of records from New York and just, you know, a lot of records from New York back then, especially with different bonus beats and all that, instrumentals. So he used to just write. And then in the evening, I used to take Corrupt back home in LA, right? Somebody used to drop him off and I used to take him home. But one time, instead of taking him home, he said, I want you to take me to where, you know, my homies are, right? And he had already told me about his crew and, you know, other rappers and, you know, Snoop and Daz and all them, you know, before. And he's like, yeah, we're all, you know, working, writing together, da-da-da-da-da. So one day, before that, I would give Corrupt my latest mixtapes, right? And because I gave him my mixtapes when he came down to San Diego State and he took them back to LA. So when I went to LA, he's like, man, you got new mixtapes? So I used to feed him my mixtapes. He used to take my mixtapes after I dropped them off, and then he would go link up with Snoop and all those dudes, and then he would play my mixtapes when he was with them, right? So they knew about me listening to my mixtapes, but they hadn't met me yet. So one night, instead of taking Corrupt home, I took him where Snoop and the whole crew was at an apartment, right? So I took him over there and he told me to come in and meet everybody. Went in, met everybody, and they finally met me face to face. And I was the DJ dude from San Diego, you know. That was my name, the DJ.
That's
dude.
how it all starts.
Yeah. And so all of them were asking me for my mixtapes too. They were like, oh man, I want a copy, you know, with your next one. So I used to give them to them. So I used to start hanging around, you know, taking Corrupt back, and then I would just hang out with them. And basically, being with them, I was the only DJ like really around in the crew at that time. They didn't ask me to, we need a DJ, because they didn't really have music at the time. We were just all hanging, right? So that happened. So let's put that to the side over there real quick. In LA, they found out there was a club, one of the biggest clubs in LA, actually started the same club night in San Diego because the club got so big. They're like, man, we want to take this to San Diego. So when they took that club to San Diego, they called the radio station in San Diego because they wanted to get commercials, to advertise this club coming, right? And they were bringing down their LA DJs, right? But they were like, well, we can't just go to San Diego and bring all the LA DJs and just push all the San Diego DJs out the way. That they might not be cool with that, right? So when they called the radio station, they were like, hey, we're going to bring this club down there. We need commercials, but who's the San Diego DJ that we need to link with to be part of this, so we can have them DJ at this event too. And they were like, oh, I DJ'd at the radio station already. So they're like, oh, you need to talk to Jam, right? So they linked up with me, talked, and were like, yeah, we want you to be one of the DJs to our club we're bringing down to San Diego. Cool. They brought the club down to San Diego, and because a lot of students went to San Diego State, they knew about that club. So it was packed when that club started, right? And the first night, they had Ice-T perform. So Ice-T and his whole crew came down, right? And I was the DJ from San Diego that set it off. But when I DJ'd back then, I didn't just DJ with two turntables. I had a Akai MPC 60 drum machine sampler too. And I had samples of the hottest beats that were out from songs mixed with my beats, played over top of them, mixed with samples of my name, Teddy Riley, Jam, from Teddy Riley. That Jam, oh Jam. Well, I had Jam it's on one of the sample pads, right? So I would have these. I would start my set off with no records. It was a drum machine, and I would hit that drum machine pad, dude, with the sequences, with the hot beats programmed and mixed with each other and all that, and people didn't know what hit them.
That sounds a lot like I interviewed DJ Chat Money a couple weeks ago on the show, and he was doing the same type of things.
Oh yeah,
back in Philly. Yeah, he was. He was sample.
That's my boy too.
Yeah, no, I mean, all my friends are DJs, so we all know each other. I mean, we've had Corrupt out here in Thailand as well. Right. If you see him, I'd love to get him on the show.
Right.
But yeah, it's funny. My adventures have linked from East Coast to West Coast and everywhere in between. And house DJs and hip hop DJs and all of these guys that have been doing this since the 80s. It's interesting to see the toys they used back in the day to be innovative.
Yeah.
That I would listen to the mixtapes and be like, how do they do that?
Exactly.
I never got your mixtapes because you were on the West Coast, but the East Coast did a lot of the same things. And, and then all of a sudden it was nationwide and then worldwide. And then I took some of those tricks out here.
Right.
So, and I brought all these DJs out here. So that's who I'm mainly interviewing for this show. All the people I've had out here that have helped push the culture to where it's at now in Thailand, where there's so many DJs over here. There's DJ schools. Everybody wants to be a DJ.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how much it's evolved in the 25 years that I've been here.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see how far it's come from when I was DJing college parties in Philly at Temple University to the nightclubs and the raves, and then now it's all come over here. Now we're talking about Rolling Loud, how that's over here now, and it just keeps growing and growing. And hip hop is a real thing over here that people told me would not work.
Right.
And now it's there's so many new hip hop acts, and the acts that have been doing it for 20 years are legends now, and they're on TV and doing commercials, and it's just taken over, just like in America.
Yeah,
it's an incredible thing to see. That us in this industry have been doing this, you since the 80s, me since the 90s, and how technology has pushed it so much further.
Yeah.
And where it could possibly go next.
Yep.
I never believed I'd see anything. Well, I knew eventually I'd see something like Serato. and then phases come along, and now controllers I never imagined, and you got Akai beat machines on your cell phone now.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see the evolution. What do you think is next? Since you're on the cusp of all the new technology out there, and been doing this for so long.
AI driven DJing, anything AI being put into the DJing, which to me, some good, some bad.
I'm being told that as well.
AI doesn't have soul, so it can't do everything that we can do.
It can't read a crowd.
Right, exactly. But it can be helpful to be used as a tool if you use it in certain ways. So that's it's a balance.
I mean, I've learned from I've seen Jazzy Jeff speak about this a lot, and he's like, most of the people out there don't know what you're doing and don't care what you're doing as long as you're playing good music.
Yeah.
And he's had his debates about the sync button, and how far that's taken things, and whether you use the sync button or you don't use the sync button. It's changed the game, and AI will be next, and we'll see how it helps us or how it hurts us.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was definitely into using that sampler, drum machine sampler as a tool, which basically separated myself from everybody else. I was the only one doing it. I know on that level on the West Coast, period. Because when I went to LA and took that, so that night when I DJ'd, when I opened, at the night Ice-T performed, when I did my set with that drum machine sampler, the promoters of that spot that were from LA, Ice-T, everybody tripped off of me. They were in awe. I mean, the DJs from LA, everybody, they couldn't, you know what I mean? And you know how DJs can be like standoffish, like, we're LA, whatever. But it was none of that after I did what I did, because you couldn't deny what I did. You know what I mean? It was totally just it. It wasn't copied or copying nobody. It was me, all me. And so after my set, it made such a big impact in that club, and I blew up the spot. The promoters were like, "Hey, can you start coming to LA to do our club in LA once a week?" Because it's a weekly club. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, yeah. And this was before I transferred colleges, right? So I would go up there and then drive back home. You know what I mean? So when I said okay, I went to DJ that club in LA, and that club in LA, it was called Jamaica House, and that's where all the celebrities hung out. Whether if you were a rapper, a singer, an actor, an athlete, that was the premier club. And every week they had performances, but they never advertised who was performing. You just had to go and be there. And believe me, it was always A-listers, from Run DMC to Nas to Tupac to EPMD to everybody who somebody performed at that Jamaica House club. So a couple nights after I started doing it, the word got around LA, and also the top club promoters went to this club because that was a premier club. So they all would go, you know what I mean? So after they went and saw me DJ, I went from DJing that one club a week to DJing 6 of the top clubs in LA, all the top clubs, right? So one night I was DJing that particular club, Jamaica House, when all the celebrities come, and Dr. Dre showed up. Him and Suge showed up with a small entourage. Dre saw me do my thing with that drum machine. After my set, he came up to me and invited me out to dinner. And I was just like, and that was a time where he was low because he had broken up from Ruthless Records, but so he was laying low at the time. So he just invited me out to dinner at the strip club, and we're sitting there eating steaks. And he was like, he's like, yeah, really like, you did your thing the other night. He was like, I'm about to start this project, my next album project, and it's going to be called The Chronic, and I need a DJ. Are you down? And I was just like, okay. I was like, wow. I was like, I would have thought he would have asked one of the LA DJs. You know what I mean?
Right. Was this before Deep Cover or after?
It was around the same time. Deep Cover had probably just came out right before that, or either wait. It was either right before that or right after that. Deep Cover came out. Can't remember right now, but but the Snoop Dre connection and all that wasn't like it was because they hadn't even started on the Chronic. So they were just came together for that one song or about to do that one song. So I was like, okay, cool. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know if he's serious. He could just be saying that, whatever. So he's like, I'm gonna give you a call when I start working on the album in a few months, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. At the same time, I'm not even thinking about me being in college or whatever. I'm just like, oh shoot, Dre asked me to, come down and be his DJ for the album, whatever. So a few months later, he actually called me, and I was like, whoa, he called. He was like, yo, I'm about to start working on the album. He was like, gave me the name of the recording studio, told me to meet him. He's going to start on this one day. He's like, yeah, start coming down. So after school, after I got out of my classes, I would show up at the recording studio, right? So I would sit there, while he watch him do his thing on the board and pull up beats, making beats. And then later on, early evening, some of his friends would start to come through the studio, right? And when that happened, I would be right next to him at the mixing board. But when his friends start coming through, I would go sit on the couch in the studio and I would break out my books from college, right? And I was going to college for audio engineering. That was my major, right? So I had my audio engineering books with me, right? And Dre didn't even know I was in college at the time. I didn't say anything. So I'm sitting there on the couch in my studying my book, and one night, and Dre turned around and saw me in my book. He was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm studying." He's like, "Studying for what?" And I was like, "I'm in college, man. I go to Cal State Dominguez Hills. Audio engineering is my major, music major, right?" He's like, "What?" It tripped Dre out. You know what I mean? He didn't know all that, but when he found that out, I think he had a different respect for me at that point, because I just wasn't the DJ that scratched. You know what I mean? I had a head on my shoulder, and he saw that. So he was like, whoa. He was like, okay. You know what I mean? And I saw that he noticed that. And I think that was one of the reasons why he had me, stuck me around, because he knew I was really into my studies and about my business, right? So later on, he did tell me that. He was like, Jam, I don't just have you here because you can DJ good or whatever. You're, as a person, I like your get down. So that's why you're here. So I appreciated that, right? So one day I'm in the studio with him, sitting at the board with him, and all of a sudden, dude, the door opens to the studio, and Snoop and the whole crew walk in, right? And like I said, it was right before they even did Deep Cover, or about to. They might not even done it yet before. But anyway, there wasn't a big correlation that people knew about between the two. So when they walked in the door, they saw me sitting next to Dre, right? And they looked and they were like, "What are you doing here?" Right? And I didn't know the correlation. So I looked at them and I was like, "What are you guys doing here?" Right? And Dre turned around and he was like, "You guys know each other?" You know what I mean? And like, we're all just sitting there, like, and they looked at me like, "Wait a minute." He was like, "You're from San Diego. How in the hell did you come up here and infiltrate the whole camp separately like this?" Right? And everybody just started busting up, dying, laughing. And that particular moment was the moment that had me come into the crew. Like,
you was family at that point.
That was family at that point, for that specific reason, I had got to both of them separately, not intentionally, but it just happened that way. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
And so we all took that as a sign, and the rest was history.
Wow, I didn't know you went that far back with Dre and Corrupt and
my actually my relationship with Dre goes even further back with that.
I know he was a DJ as well back in the day.
Yeah. So back in like 1988, I was the DJ for an artist in San Diego that was part of a compilation project of artists in San Diego. It was 4 different groups, and they all came together to make a compilation album. The DJ that was producing the project was like one of my crew. He was my mentor. He was older. I was the youngest DJ at the time that was DJing in crews back then, right? So he was like the head DJ in this DJ crew, right? He's a DJ and he was a producer. So he put this compilation together, and he had 4 groups, and one of the groups was a female MC named MC Deb B. And she asked me to be her DJ, right? So I was the DJ for her in this group in the compilation, and my boy was the producer. Well, that group was signed, the first rap group to sign to a major label from San Diego. It was called the Vicious Beat Posse. You can look this up. They had a song called Legalized Dope, but Vicious Beat Posse. So we would have to go to record the album in Los Angeles, right? For a whole summer, we recorded this album. So they got us an apartment. The record label, MCA Records, got us an apartment so we could, didn't have to go back and forth to San Diego to LA every time. We could just stay up there for a week's time, right? So while we were at this apartment, I think Dre came down to Paramount Studios where we were recording one day, and they had a session in another studio, and he met my MC Deb B. They met in the hallway or whatever, and so Dre started coming by the apartment, right, to kick it with her, and we were all just in the apartment. So Dre would come by. But I wasn't all, Dre, all that. We were cool. Like, we weren't starstruck and all that. He came by and they were, just chilling, and we were chilling, doing our own thing. But that's how I originally met Dre. But he had forgot about that when he met me again the second time. He didn't realize that I was that guy. So that was another thing that, that I told him, like, dude, you probably don't remember this, but I was the DJ. So that blew him away too. So that was part of the reason why it all came back full circle. So that's how.
Wow. That's amazing stories. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And this was all early 90s, because I remember
the
Chronic came out when I was about a senior in high school. So that was 93, 94.
Yeah. And this was about 89 or 90.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was not too long after I got into hip hop. I really got into it about 86, I guess, 86, 87.
Right.
Run DMC, Beastie Boys, that whole revolution. So wow, that's amazing.
Oh, and another thing that he really liked was the fact that I was in the DMC mixing championships in '88.
Oh, okay.
I went to the finals. I made it to the finals. I went up against Cash Money.
Okay, another guy I go way back with.
Look, I went up against your boy, your Philly boy.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy how this all it's all linked together. It's nuts.
Cash Money had just won the New Music Seminar in 1987.
87, 88, yeah.
He battled DJ Joe Cooley in the finals, and he beat Joe.
I've seen the tapes and heard the stories. Yes.
Yeah, it could have went either way. They were both dope.
And that's like San Diego and LA, the war between New York and Philly.
Right. Yeah.
Was always going on.
There was a lot of New York. There was a lot of East Coast, West Coast rivalry when it came to DJing back then. After that, because Joe Cooley was kind of pissed that he thought he won and all that. But yeah, man. At the DMC finals, I made it to the finals. I won San Diego, and then you go to the regionals. The regional finals was in LA, and they take 2 people from every competition till you get to the finals. So me and DJ Brian G, which was one of the 1580 K-Day mix masters, advanced to the finals from LA. And Aladdin was actually there. DJ Evil E, Ice-T's DJ, was in the finals. I battled Evil E in the finals in LA. And Aladdin came, but Aladdin couldn't be in it because he was too young. They wouldn't let him in the club. So Ice-T came in with Evil E and Henji, and I think Bambaataa, whatever. All of them came in. Islam, and all of them came in. And when I saw them come in, and he had Darlene, that was when he was still with Darlene. And so they all came in, dude, and I was just like, whoa, you know what I mean? I was kind of, I was like, damn, I gotta go levels. I gotta go against all these cats, right? And so we drew numbers to see who went first and last. You know what I mean? And I drew last. And boy, that saved me big time, because when those LA DJs got on, they did some crazy shit. So I had to basically, I was like, whoa, I was like, I'm not going to do my routine. I have to do more than that. You know what I mean? So I basically got up there. I did parts of my routine, but I basically zoned everything out like I was in my room. You know what I mean? And I did some things. I did some things in that final that I hadn't done before and pulled it off. And I didn't have not one needle jump. And back then there was no Serato, none of that. So your needles had to be on point.
I was just teaching a young DJ out here that's what the penny was for.
Yeah.
You got to put the penny on, and he didn't realize that. But yeah, and African Islam is out here right now. We're doing dinner on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder if he remembers. I wonder if Islam remembers back then when that happened.
Ask him about it. Yeah, I'll ask him.
So yeah, dude, I was really like tripped when I saw those DJs go on. I was like, I got to do something. You know what I mean? And I pulled it off, dude. And I beat Evil and everybody. And I met Evil Lee that night, dude, and he was real cool to me. And like, he was real cool to me, and we had a relationship. So when I actually moved to LA, when I was telling you about, Evil Lee was there, and that was one of my people, like, because I didn't know too many people in LA, but he was one of the guys that I could call and go out with, or link up with him when we go out, you know what I mean? And I'd hang with him. So that was really cool of Evil Lee and and the whole crew to take me in like that.
And back then, you had to go from San Diego to LA with all your records as well.
Yep.
Oh man, I can't imagine loading up the car, driving a couple hours.
Yeah.
Loading,
I was glad when I transferred schools to LA, so I didn't have to go back and forth. I just brought all my records and my equipment to my apartment up there on campus. And then I would give parties on campus too, because I already had the equipment there. You know what I mean? So the school was off the hook when I was there. But
I bet I can understand. Your back is feeling it these days, I'm sure.
What's that?
Yeah, for after years of hauling all that vinyl, I'm sure your back is feeling it these days.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad when Serato came out.
Yeah, I've talked about that with every DJ, and every DJ is so happy. The overweight charges on the airlines as well.
Oh my god, yeah, crazy.
I've heard some horror stories. Who was it? Todd Terry out of New York was telling me he went through Saudi Arabia and they took every single record out of his crate.
Wow.
And didn't put them back in. So when he went to go get his luggage, one record at a time was coming through the conveyor belt.
Oh, crazy.
I can't imagine the horror that would be. Just to see one record at a time coming through, and you got like 150 records.
Right.
That's, I couldn't. Wow.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
The first time we brought Cash Money out here, he had to bring all his vinyl. That was before Serato.
Wow.
And he brought all his records out here, and that was like 3 flight cases full, and we had to pay all the overcharges to it. It was nuts.
Charge to the promoter.
Yeah, no, that was me. That was me. Yeah. So it's come such a long way, and now DJs show up with a USB stick, like, I'm ready to go.
They have no idea what it meant.
I would have taken a baseball bat to their back, like, you need to feel the pain of being a real DJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's come such a long way. And I'm happy. This is how many times you've been out to Bangkok now?
Ooh, at least
3.
No, probably about at least 5 times.
5? Has it been that many times? Wow.
Yeah.
And what are some great memories for you? They're all kind of hazy for me.
Yeah. Shoot. I mean, every time I go there, I have a memorable experience. But that first time when I went out there, when you guys were out there, that was probably the biggest to me, because that was the first time. You know what I mean? And you know how it's different out there, and so I was basically all in at that point.
Your first time out here, was that the time we went to Pattaya?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That was a hell of an experience for me.
Yeah, that was crazy. Pattaya is still a crazy place. It's gotten even crazier over the years and bigger. They're opening casinos out here soon.
Oh yeah.
Bangkok and Chiang Mai. I don't believe they're going to be opening them in Pattaya. I'm not sure why. But yeah, they're going to open some casinos out here soon. Sure, the entertainment in those places will be desired. So yeah, there will be more opportunities for you to come out here. But yeah, I very much remember our first trip to Pattaya together. That was a crazy time.
Yeah.
Oh, that was when you had that girl from Korea come out here to meet you.
That was the second time. That was the second or third time. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Remember when we went to Pattaya, dude? Remember, I bought 4 girls back to Bangkok. You remember that? Remember when we went to eat? We went to eat in Pattaya at that, I don't know, a place. It was a big place. We went to eat. It was like a food court or something. And so we got something to eat, and we're sitting there eating. And then there was girls in the food court sitting at a table, across the room. And I was like eyeing them back and forth. And then we started talking. And first I met the first girl when we were walking down the boardwalk along the water, along the coast. I met the first
Walking Street. Yeah, Walking Street.
No, not
right before Walking Street.
Yeah, Walking Street on the where the water was, the boardwalk right in the water. We were walking on the boardwalk, and I met this girl there, and I said hi to her, and then she walked with us into the place where we ate. And when we were eating, she was sitting there, and there was these girls, like 4 girls, or 3 girls, or 4 girls across the way sitting down. And I started eye contact, and I started saying hi and stuff. And I went over and talked to them. And then I invited them to come back to Bangkok. And they said, okay.
I vaguely remember this.
Yeah, we had a van. Remember, we had those white vans. And so they got in the vans. And I had 4 or 5 girls brought back to the, remember I was in that apartment style hotel down the street from Q Bar.
Yeah, that's still there.
They had a kitchen.
Ambassador. Yeah.
They had a kitchen, all that. Remember?
It's still there.
I had all those girls in there.
There's a club on top of that now as well. But yeah, I remember that. There was a girl that we puffed and passed out. I linked up with her. She had a food truck that I used to see her all the time, and she reminded me of it. And I totally forgot. That's many, many blunts ago.
Right.
And I've done this with so many DJs. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's crazy, dude, that because that first girl that I met on the boardwalk that I was telling you about, the first girl that was cool with me, even inviting the other girls, she didn't leave, or she was like, "No, it's cool, let's go." That girl has came to see me every single time except for once. The time when the girl from Korea came with me, that was the only time she didn't come to meet me. But every other time, that girl, so me and that girl talk to each other all the time to this day.
Wow.
She'll be there. She'll be there in Bangkok at some point. You know what I mean? I'm not having her for the 2 weeks, but she'll probably the last few days she'll probably come, or she will come. So you'll see her again.
That's nuts. That's crazy. That was what was the first year you were out here? 90,
like 2004, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I believe
20 years ago. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. It's been a long, strange journey.
Yeah.
The white vans, I was just packing them to send artists to Pattaya just the last couple of days for the Blue Festival.
Still doing it.
Yeah, still doing it. Still. I don't know how I'm still doing this. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of chronicling this on this channel, so that everybody can recognize and learn kind of where it all started. I'm an OG in this town, and it's all these young new DJs don't really understand the journey,
right?
And how many people I brought out here. We've had Ice-T out here. We've had so many people out here. It's crazy. It's just been it's been 25 years of madness out here, and I've seen it come from not being able to find hip hop spots to not be there. There's been too many of them out here now. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. So yeah, and we just had the DMC here. We had the DMC here not long ago, a couple months ago, and I had a qualifier who's going to go to where is it this year? I think it's London this year.
Is it London?
Yeah, they're gonna send one of the Thai reps over there. So yeah, it's amazing to see how far it's come. Because we haven't had the DMC here officially in like 20 years, 15, 20 years.
Wow.
So and the last winner is my partner in our crew called Eargasm out here now. And I'm helping him manage like 30 DJs.
Oh, dope.
And he is
what do you guys what do they do? Like what manage is in what way?
Well, me and him help DJs find gigs in all these hip hop clubs over here.
Oh, okay.
But the problem is, now that it's summertime, we're losing more gigs than we're gaining, and we have too many DJs now because there's so many DJs, and clubs are opening and closing like they always have in Bangkok. New clubs come along, and then after a few months they close. And some of the major clubs that I was involved in have closed in the past few months. I was running 4 nightclubs out here for 2 years, and they closed the major one I was at. I was at a Holiday Inn club here for only like a month and a half, and then that got closed due to some mismanagement. And so right now I'm kind of doing free agent, doing private parties and corporate stuff and weddings, and I have a cannabis lounge called Azumo Green, which I'll try and take you to. That's really cool. It hosts me at least once a month now. and they get me so high I can barely see the turntables. So it's weird now out here now that it's legal and it's everywhere. They opened 5,000 dispensaries in a year.
Wow.
Just in Bangkok alone.
Wow.
They're like 7-Elevens now.
Nice.
Everywhere.
Nice.
Everywhere.
Nice.
And it's weird. But the dispensary I work at, big ups to Zumo Green if they're watching. And the Lavender Boys out of LA that help run it. And I'm working there and a few independents here and there. It's getting crazier as an independent. I need to find more residencies, but that takes time.
That's what I was talking to you about, man. Like, I would have been down to come out there, and like, honestly, dude, like you've been out there for a long time. Like, dude, like, there's got to be somebody. I mean, not just somebody. There's got to be people out there that you can go to.
Oh yeah.
To start a club and do it right. And
I'm talking to a guy right now. Yeah.
And not be on the level of, we're just going to put on all Thai DJs because there's so many. I'm talking about doing something special that other clubs aren't doing. That's why when I was talking to you about, hey man, I will come out there for a few months at a time. How long can you stay out there? For 3 months? You can stay out there for like 90 days, and you can get an extension if you really wanted to. But let's just say I go out there for 3 months at a time, right? And I come back or whatever. But what I'm saying is, there's got to be somebody that can say that you can go to and be like, hey, I know some people that's interested in being part of this. I know DJ Jam, the DJ from Snoop and Dre from the States. He's one of them. Let's just start with me. And let's just say Jam is down to move over here to help out with this. You know what I mean? There's got to be somebody that can see that venture.
Yeah. African Islam has moved over here now. He's going to live here now.
Who?
African Islam.
Yeah. So where are the people who can say, hey, let's start this then? And I want you guys to link up and start bringing other DJs from the States.
Well, the States and the UK.
Like known DJs, named DJs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I have relationships with all these guys.
Like, this is one of the points of me doing this channel and bringing it, proving to everybody that I know all these people. And that I've done it before, I can do it again, and we're working on it. We're working on something. It's just I'm getting tired of working for other people.
Yeah, like who runs Sugar?
The guys that bought out Q Bar.
Really?
Yeah, and I can't really work with them at present. But yeah, there are a few people. That
club has been running for years, dude.
No, there's some interesting. There's an interesting corporation behind that, and I'll fill you in more on that when you get out here. That's not something I can discuss here, but yeah, they bought up a lot of clubs, which is a lot.
What did they do with Q Bar?
It's now a Villa supermarket.
What? A supermarket? I can't even picture that as a super. That was 2 stories.
Yep. My former office is the alcohol section.
So it's a 2-level supermarket?
Basically it's 1 level. They got high ceilings in there, but yeah. It's just,
it's not the second level like it used to be.
They destroyed the old Q Bar. That's gone.
Oh, okay.
They leveled it and built a supermarket on that lot.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy.
About over 10 years ago now. Yeah. So
what about that other club across the street?
Bed's gone as well.
Really?
Bed was moved from Soy 11 to Soy 15 and opened under another name. What was the name now? I can't remember. It was only open for about 3 months and then it closed again. They spent a fortune moving it, renaming it, launching it, and then after 3 months it died. And I opened a huge club out here as well, called Mad. It was out on Rachida Road. Huge club, big club, and spent about a year in developing it. Opened it for about 3 months, and then unfortunately our king passed away.
Your what?
And the king of Thailand.
Right.
That's when the king of Thailand passed. So there was a 3-month mourning period where there's no alcohol, no parties.
No alcohol?
And, for like 3 months. Because the king passed, obviously, there's a mourning period, and we respected that. But all of our sponsors pulled out, all of our investors pulled out. I ended up leaving the club right before it closed permanently.
I have never, ever heard they suspend alcohol because somebody died. Because somebody died, dude.
It wasn't just somebody. It was our king.
I mean,
he was godlike. Godlike over here,
Wow, dude.
But also, I mean, Buddhists in general, when there's a funeral, when Buddhists, when people die over here, there is usually generally a 3-month mourning period. But when it's Your Royal Highness, there's no parties, no parties. Wow. Everybody, and nationally, everybody wore black.
So what did all the DJs do?
Wait, just like we did during COVID. Just waited.
So what did you do at night? What do people do at night?
When that 3 months, there was nothing.
Oh, you mean that what's the name of that district where all the girly clubs are?
Yeah, they were, some of
those were all shut.
But I think they didn't have alcohol for a while. But it restricted the party scene for a while. I mean, that was a long time ago now. Right. He's been gone. But it was an interesting time.
Wow.
But I mean, it's not like a president passing in the U.S. or anything like that. The king was king here for 60 years.
Right. Wow.
They revered him as a god, and you can't say anything bad about the man,
Right.
Without it could be punishment. But it was, I understand it, but it was like when COVID hit,
Wow.
It was a tough time to go through. Yeah. We've had our times out here, up and down, just like in the States. I know it was about this time 5 years ago when COVID hit. Mm-hmm. First 2 weeks of March, when everything shut down. Yeah. I had Shortcut out here the week before that club closed permanently, and he was the last international DJ I had out here.
Wow.
And actually, I think it was today, 5 years ago, that the club I was working at called Koi shut permanently.
Wow.
And never reopened. And that was we just got the call. It was a Tuesday night, and we got the call like 6 p.m. right before we were supposed to go to the club and get ready to start at like 9. And we got the call, and that was it.
Wow.
But we're past all that now, and Thailand's rebuilding. It's getting better over here. I don't know how. Are you still involved in the club scene in San Diego a lot? You're not into. You're in Arizona.
I'm in Arizona, so I would just do a special event, but I don't do any residencies out there because I'm out here. And I don't really do residencies anyway. I just do special events. I mean, I did a residency industry night out here in Arizona, and that's the only spot where I actually did for a season. I did a residency at this spot because it was kind of exclusive for the industry club people, type of thing. So they highlighted me for that time. But other than that, I just do special events. But I would go to do a residency in another country, though. That's different.
Right.
Like a Thailand, I would go there. Wouldn't have a problem being over there for 3 months. I could record my radio shows from over there. I could do that. I can live anywhere. What I mean?
You have a radio show as well that you just finished today. You're on Twitch. I'll put the link below so people can tune in. And that's out of Australia. That's out of Australia as well.
I'm on a station. I'm on a station in Adelaide, Australia, and I'm on a station in Lagos, Nigeria.
Oh wow! Okay.
And that station in Lagos, Nigeria, covers 3 total states.
Wow. Okay. I'm on Zulu Nation Radio out of Colorado.
Uh-huh.
And I'm on every Saturday. Every other Saturday, I do a new mix.
Nice.
And that's on the internet worldwide now.
Nice.
So yeah, it's broadcasting on AM radio in Colorado and on the internet on iHeart Radio, all these.
Yeah.
So yeah, send me the links to those 2 radio shows you got, and I'll add them to this chat.
Yeah. So the two shows, the one station in Africa plays both of my shows. I have a show called The Hotspot, and that's like my club mix, where it's clubby type music. And then I have my other show called Midnight Grooves. And Midnight Grooves is different because it's about sensual hip hop. So it's got to be talking about a female subject matter, which is half the rapper's album anyway. That's why I started the project. I started this show, and it was the first radio show, mix show in the United States of its kind that played sensual hip hop and mixed it with R&B. So, and it was in LA on the number 1 station in LA, and it went number 1 the first book after I started the show, and I've been doing the show ever since then. Even when I left radio at first, when I started touring with Snoop, I still kept it going as a mixtape, as a mix CD project, and then I just bought it back to radio almost 2 years ago. So the station in Africa has both of my shows. My Hotspot show plays Saturday evening, and my Midnight Grooves show plays Sunday evening.
We'll have to talk about getting that on Zulu Nation Radio.
Yep, I got 2 shows right now. Right now, as we speak, they're shopping my show. They just started shopping it last week. They're starting to hit stations in the United States, commercial stations. They're about to go after internet, the bigger internet radio stations, and satellite, Sirius XM. So We're rolling the dice. I've developed these shows into what they are today, and I have a host, and it's not just about me mixing records, but it's not a talk show either, where we just sit and talk and then play a little bit of music, because that's what they usually do on the regular periods during the day on a radio station out here. It's more of them talking about stuff and issues and all this, and then they'll play a little bit of music. But I'm in between both of those, right? I play music. Mine is mix driven, but in my mix breaks going in between records or whatever, we talk about certain news, what's going on in the industry. You know what I mean? So like we could say like, oh, this is a new Playboy Cardi right here. He's actually on tour right now. Check your schedule. He should be coming to a city near you. And he was just in Oregon last night, and he broke his arm on stage. You know what I mean? Like just whatever's pertinent in the news, we drop that little tidbits during my mix. So I'm the in-between show, because they don't do a lot of that out here. So I wanted to try something different. So now we're actually starting to shop it to try to see, what it's going to do. So it's on in the evening out there in Africa, but out there in the evening, out here in the States, is early morning, right? Because they're like 16 hours ahead of us or whatever, right?
Yeah, so, just like us right now.
Right. So yeah, you're 12 hours ahead, and they're like 16 to 18 hours. So instead of that's why I broadcast it now on Twitch. in the evening time as a rebroadcast. You know what I mean? So my audience out here can hear it and watch me, you know what I mean, at the same time, instead of just listening to it on the radio out in Africa or whatever. So that's why I do mine. I could be I monitor my shows when it's on the air, when I'm listening to it or whatever, but then I actually do it on Twitch as well. So, and then on Tuesdays, I'm on in Australia on Tuesday evenings, which is late night Monday night, well, actually early morning Tuesday out here in the States. Right. So that's what I have so far. And yeah, man, I'm about to start trying to connect the dots with them.
Any other projects in the future you want to talk about to my viewers?
Well, in the background of everything, I'm starting to work on my documentary. So, I've got almost 200 tapes to look through, and all these 200 tapes are basically of me and Snoop and Dre and traveling the world on tour, concerts, after parties, hotel, tour buses. And I was the only one with a camcorder back then, right? And they used to make fun of me when I had the camcorder out recording stuff, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was just a DJ. DJs are gadget. We love electronics. You know what I mean? So back then I had one when it wasn't, people didn't have camcorders back then. You know what I mean? Unless you were just really into it or something. You know what I mean? So I had one. Nobody else had one. And they would always make fun of me. Jen, why you always got the camera? You know, and making fun. It was all fun and games, but they would always talk about me having the camera out. Right? But now they're like, Jen, where's that footage? You know what I mean? Yeah. We need that, so that footage, some of the footage that I have was used for, when VH1 or MTV did a documentary on Snoop and Dre, because I was the only one with that old footage, right? So, but I only gave them a little bit of the footage.
I've got hard drives full of footage from Q-Bar that I need to go through and put something together.
Yeah, I'd be crazy if you have any of me.
Yeah, I got to look through all of it. I'm sure I do. I do. But
So most of those tapes, though, I haven't even seen, because when I was recording them, when they get to the end, I pop the tape out, throw it in my bag, and put the new tape and keep recording, right? So after the tour, I come back home and have a bag full of tapes, and I just dump them in a box and then keep going because we were busy. So right now, I'm actually seeing most of these tapes for the first time. And I'm tripping because I'm like a little kid in the candy store looking at this footage because it's incredible, dude. You know what I mean? I took it for granted when I was doing it. But now that I'm watching it, I'm like, oh my God, like this is worth gold. You know what I mean? What I have right now. So I'm reviewing in a program. I have an editor that's in LA, and I'm previewing them in a program that as I'm watching them, because I didn't label a lot of these tapes either, because I didn't have time to label. I wasn't trying to do that. Some of the tapes are date stamped because the camcorders, you can put it on date stamp. So some of them I did that, so it would tell me when it happened, but I didn't put where on the tape or on the, anything. So I have to watch it, and I could be like, oh yeah, this is when we were in Germany, in Stuttgart, blah, blah, blah. And as much as I can, I'll put, and then I push enter on my keyboard, and it puts it on the timeline with my video.
Well, I hope you got some Thai footage in there.
Well, I didn't have a camcorder when we
okay. I might have some camera.
Yeah, footage. So that'd be on you if you have it. Just let me know. Yeah, but I'm on tape like number 37 right now.
Wow.
Out of almost 200. So basically, as I'm doing that, that's why I'm starting to stream on Twitch. You know what I mean? And not just my DJing, but I'm starting my blog channel too. I'm trying to start it before I come to Thailand, my blog channel. And that's where I'm just talking to people, you know what I mean? About whatever.
That's what I'm doing right now, yeah.
Yeah, like this. This is my blog channel. In my blog channel, I'm going to be going to clubs. I'm going to be just going to interesting places or whatever with my gimbal, with my camera, you know what I mean? Just filming, you know what I mean? Getting content. And all this stuff, I'm also the Twitch stuff that I'm doing when I'm streaming and all that, that's going to be cut up and made into a podcast that's going to be on YouTube. So my streaming is going to start the blogging on Twitch. Then all of a sudden, I'm starting a podcast on YouTube, which is going to be all the blogs from Twitch cut up and put on my podcast, right? And the reason why I'm doing all this is to build up that momentum that's going to lead to my documentary. You know what I mean? So as I'm reviewing these videotapes of us around the world, that's going to be on my blog channel. I'm going to actually be on my blog channel reviewing the tapes. So if you want to come in and watch the tapes with me, you can do that on my Twitch.
Nice.
And that should drive audience because nobody's seen any of this stuff, right? So all of it is strategy that I'm not doing it. People around me are going to put together this strategy, but basically that's how the fold out is going to happen. And that's why a little while ago, I finally started talking on my social networks. I don't know if you noticed that. Over all these years,
yeah. No,
all these years that you've known me, I have never been on my social networks talking, saying anything to my audience, fans, or nothing, right?
Same with me.
And people used to get on me about that. Jam, you need to talk to your fan. And I'm just like, why? Like,
everybody's I should have a TV show. You should write a book.
All this stuff.
I've heard all of it. Yeah.
I'm like, not yet. It's not time yet. You know what I mean? I haven't told all this. And they're like, no, you need to do that so you can get this information out, right? And I was kind of thinking like people wouldn't be interested. They don't want to hear me talk, whatever. So, dude, last year, maybe the end of the summer last year, summertime or the end of the summer, I finally gave in to one of the social network people around me, right? That's helping me right now. Like, Jam, you got to do this, right? So I said, all right, man, I'll go on. Jam, just start telling them stories, not about Snoop and stuff. Don't even start with Snoop yet. Go back to your early life before Snoop and start telling those stories so you can get used to telling these stories. So by the time you get to talking about Snoop and Dre, you're going to be, you know what I mean? You're going to have it down. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try. So I went on my Instagram, Facebook, started these little stories. And some of them will be like, because, you know, on a reel, you can only be a minute and 30 seconds. So some of these stories were like, had 10 parts to them. You know what I mean? So I do like a couple parts every day for a week, you know what I mean, to get the whole story out there, right? But when I started doing that, dude, my social network went up 738%. People weren't even commenting on my posts when I was just doing regular posts anymore. And I was just like, people don't care, like whatever. And I was wondering, I was like, you know, and they were like, no, Jam. They were like, they still care, but they're scrolling your stuff because what you're posting is just information. It's a flyer saying, oh, check out, I'm going to be live tomorrow on my radio show, or, hey, I'm going to Thailand to DJ at this club, right? It wasn't anything to keep people engaged. And I did it so much that people just got used to it. Oh, yeah, that's the post saying Jam is on at 9 o'clock tomorrow on his radio show. We already know that. So they just look at it and keep going. They don't hit a like button or they don't comment. I mean, what are they going to say in a comment? Oh, yeah, Jam, I'm ready for your show again tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? So they're like, yo, Jam, they're still checking for you, but you don't have anything that's engaging them. That's why you need to start talking, right? So that's why I finally gave in. So when I started talking, dude, when it went up the percentages, people started talking and engaging that I haven't talked to on my socials, or people haven't reached out to me around the world that I hadn't talked to in 10 to 15 years, dude. You know what I mean? And I was like, whoa, I'm like, dude, where you been? You know what I mean? Long time no talk. Oh, Jam, I'm still on you. I know what you're doing. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now, you know, which I stopped with the stories for a couple months just because right now, a social network team is building my whole background right now to start taking over my social networks, like in a real way. I would say in the next 3 weeks to a month, you're going to see a total night and day with me and my social networks.
Cool. Well, I hope when you're over here, we'll do some things together.
Oh yeah, big dude. We haven't even got there yet. We're going to talk about all that when we finish this. We got a lot to talk about. But yeah, man. So that's why I'm all about talking now. I'm starting to stream, starting to talk to my audience to build those numbers up, build those audience numbers up again, and get them right next to me while I tell my story and get them ready for that end product, which is going to be that documentary. You know what I mean? And it's not going to be one documentary because I have almost 200 videotapes, right? So they're saying, no, Jam, you don't have a documentary. This is a series. You know, about Netflix and a group of other companies already contacted me because they know I have these tapes. So over the years, they reached out to me. Yo, Jam, this is such and such from Netflix. You know, we just got all these budget and we're looking for stories. We're looking for content, you know, like your story. We heard you got the tapes. You know what I mean? But they're like, yeah, just come. You can bring the tapes down to us and we'll help you go through them. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? I'm going to bring you the tapes so you can suck them into your system and then you're going to have it. So if something happens to me or something, you've got all my stuff. So anyway, I'm doing it independently, the footwork, going through the tapes and documenting everything myself. And I have my own in-house editors and everything that are going to piece this together with ourselves. And then we'll end up taking it to a Netflix for the deal. So that's kind of where I lay right now. That's why all this, my radio shows, them going after this radio, all this, it goes together. The streaming stuff, me being on these radio stations, my podcast, my blogging, all is about to come together to tell the story for all this stuff to happen. Another thing I'm going to do on my blog channel, what I want to do is travel the world, going to clubs, the premier clubs all over the world, and interviewing the DJ before the club night. You know what I mean? During the day, I'm going to interview the DJ. And then at night, I'm going to go back to the club and shoot the club. And I'm going to do that all over the world because that's one thing people know about me. I've been all around the world and I have relationships.
I've had that similar idea. Yeah.
And nobody has done that. You know, so far. So I'm going to do that. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, which nobody's doing, is I'm going to all the top producers, DJs and producers in LA, going to their studios or a recording studio if they happen to be working on a project at a studio, and I'm going to sit with them and interview them in a recording studio setting live on Twitch. You know what I mean? So that's like me calling up Battle Cat, right? Yo, Cat, I'm coming to LA, dog. I want to sit with you in your studio and we're just going to chop it up. All right, Jim, let me know. That type of thing. You know, and it could be an artist too in LA artists. We meet up at a coffee shop in LA and I interview them. All about content.
Yep.
That's coming up.
Speaking of content, we've been talking for like over an hour now. So yeah, we'll talk more. We'll chat about you coming out here and what we're gonna do while you're out here. I appreciate you joining and being part of the Adventures of Travelin Matt for the past 20 years.
Oh man,
it's been a pleasure talking to you, my brother.
And you too,
I can't wait to see you out here.
Yeah, and you too, man. Thank you, man, for being down with me since day one, since the first time. You know what I mean? You've always been 100 with me. You know, link me, hook me up when I come to town, and I really appreciate that, dude, because there's a lot of negativity out there when it comes to that, and people kind of like trying to gatekeep and this, especially DJs that I deal with. You know what I mean? they'll be cool to you when they see you around, blah, 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 blah. But once you start that long distance, trying to get, something happen or whatever, they like, or don't hit you back and stuff like that. And I'm not really cool with that because I'm not that type of person. I've helped DJs all over the world. To this day, DJs call me. They call me about DJing on the radio. Jam, I DJ at this radio station, and I think they're not treating me right. Do you think this is fair? So I got to talk to DJs all over the world that DJ on radio to give them my input. Then I get hit up by club DJs all over the world. Jam, I'm DJing this club, and he only paid me this. Should I be DJing for that? All that. I got to talk to those guys. I also get hit up by artist DJs, right? That DJ for certain artists. Yo, Jam, I don't know how much I should be charging the artist, or this artist said something to me. Is this right or blah, blah. So I'm the go-to dude. But I always, no matter how big or small that DJ is, I always respond. You know what I mean? When I can, and give them that feedback, dude, because I didn't make it to where I am by myself. You know what I mean? I had a lot of help from people around me that saw my drive in me, and they knew I really wanted it, and they helped me. So that's my, give it back, paying it forward type of thing with DJs. So there's not any DJ on this earth can ever say that I did anything wrong or didn't, communicate with them for certain reason, because that's not me. So I respect when somebody's like that, like myself, back to me, and I let them know for sure. But you did that, man. So thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We'll definitely see you soon. I'm gonna cut the broadcast here, and then we'll talk a little bit about your upcoming trip privately. All right.
Yeah. Cut the recording and then stay on.
All right, no problem. 3, 2, 1. Thanks for joining the Adventures of Travelin' Matt. Please like, subscribe, and ring the little bell so you know when we're back on the air. And
follow me at DJ Jam DPG on all socials. DJ Jam DPG, Instagram, TikTok. Instagram and TikTok are the two biggest ones. DJ Jam DPG, and on Twitch, DJ Jam DPG.
Cool. I'll put all those links in the comments below, and we'll see you guys next time with more Adventures of Travelin' Matt. Peace to Jam. Peace to all my subscribers, and we'll see you soon.
All right.